What's up, guys? Welcome to Sharpen Your Sword podcast, episode number 17. Thank you guys for the support. Thank you for sharing, comments, likes, subscribing to our YouTube, and following us on Instagram. You can find us on YouTube, okay? And you can find us on Spotify right now. So thank you guys for the support. I'm here with number one co-host in the world, Giovanni Jimenez.
Hey.
And we are starting something new, guys. We are starting a four-part series, four episodes on starting a business. And through this four-part series, we are going to take you along with us on giving you ideas, giving you tips, and giving you value toward starting a business and helping you out with that, okay? And on this first episode, guys, it's called The Big Idea, From Concept to Reality. Welcome to the episode, guys.
Welcome. So we're talking about this when it comes to business, and we're going to talk about from like the beginning to making it like a reality, right? But obviously every business first starts in your brain and between your ears. So what was your first business idea?
Man, I had a lot of ideas growing up. Okay, like I knew I wanted to get into business, but I was all over the place, right? Mm-hmm. It's funny, I didn't start business as an adult. I always tell people this. I started business in school. Okay, I always liked money, right? And I saw my dad and my uncles work, and so in school I wanted to find ways to make money, and so I started off by selling like Cheetos and selling like pencils, erasers, like just small things. Kids always got lunch money, and so I knew they had money on them, and so if I had something, I would sell it to them.
Yeah.
And it's nothing illegal, right? It was Cheetos, candy, and stuff like that. And so I started off with that like in middle school. And so, and then I went down this place, I've talked about this before, where I knew these kids were getting phones, like yearly, new phones, right? And so I started buying their old phones, and I would start selling their old phones to somebody that needs a phone.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would buy and sell phones. And then got into high school, and now I started selling clothes to some kids in school, shoes and clothes, because now everybody wants to be fashion. People got jobs. The kids got high schools got jobs. They want nice clothes. And so we had a clothing store, and so I started doing that. Okay, and then it went through. Now I'm a grown up. I'm a grown up, right? I was a teenager. I saw my dad and my uncles street vending, so they would buy merchandise from companies, and then they would just sell them on the street. Out of a cargo van on a random lot. And so I went down that. But I knew I wanted to have a business, and I knew I wanted to have a store, a brick and mortar.
Yeah.
And so after that, I officially opened my first store.
Okay.
At 18.
But that's very interesting because you started off even as a kid, right? Selling snacks to the kids. Mm-hmm. And then you went from the phones, right? From looking at your mind, like the way you process things, like you were looking for opportunities, right? Which is very interesting. Did you understand like that was your thought process, or was it just happening naturally? Like you're like, oh, I can make money from this, or did you have those concepts of look for a problem? Here's how can I profit from that?
So I was always looking for opportunities. I'm always nonstop looking for opportunities, right? I think like part of being a businessman, you need to always look for the opportunity. And you also need to look for the problems, right? But I wanted to make more money. You know what I'm saying? Selling snacks for 25-cent profit, 50-cent profit, or $1 profit. And I'm getting rich off that dollar profit, right?
Yeah.
It's only going to get me so far. I come home with $5. But I buy one phone, and this is where I found the opportunity. These kids, and I didn't have a phone. Here's the thing. I didn't have a phone. My dad didn't give me a phone until I was in high school. Like, you ain't getting a phone. We were a very traditional family, so I didn't get my phone until high school, and I think I had to buy my first phone. I bought my first phone, but my dad put a plan on it because he sold phones. So he's like, here, I'll put the first plan on there.
Yeah.
Which is like, it was only like text and call. It was no internet, none of that. But anyway, so I didn't have a phone, and so I was like, man, I don't have a phone. All these kids in middle school have a phone. And then they're talking about they're getting new phones. And then I was like, well, what are you doing with the old phones? you know? And so, oh, I don't know, nothing, throwing it away or putting it up. Well, I'll give you $20 for it. I'll give you $30 for it. You know, and so I would take that phone and now I'll make $50 or $100 profit. Depends on how good the phone is. You know, when the iPhone 4 or 5 came out, now I was making money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'll buy the iPhone 4, they get the iPhone 5. I sell the iPhone 4 to somebody that needs it. You know, I would change the cover on it, change the color back then. Back then, the iPhone 4 and 5, you know, that was like the square block iPhone.
Yeah.
You can change the screen on it, the front and the back, to a different color. So it was either a white iPhone or a black iPhone. But back then, you can take the white screen off and put pink or camo or red or yellow. So I got into that early on too. So I started making money on that. For a screen replacement, I charged $100.
So you came up with that with yourself? You never...
This hit the market.
Okay.
People started doing this. And so, but I was in high school doing this. You know what I mean? But it was started with the opportunity of, I know these kids got phones. I don't have a phone. This was 8th grade. I remember this vividly. And it was in a history class. My desk was across the wall. Kid in front of me tapped him on the shoulder. He's my friend. We're talking. He's like, yeah, I got this phone. I'm like, what are you going to do with it? Oh, I'm getting a new phone this summer. Well, I'll buy that phone from you. Bought it. That was my first phone in high school.
Yeah.
You know, it's like school was just finishing. And then I just started, you know, looking for those opportunities nonstop, selling what I got.
That's very interesting. And I want to talk this briefly, right, before we dive into it. Because I remember seeing The Men Who Built America. And John D. Rockefeller, one of the most successful men of all time in entrepreneurship, right? I think he amassed maybe like over 300 million. Billion when you do all the math. But pretty much he started off as a kid. He bought like a big chunk of candy, and he would cut it and sell it to other kids, right? So he started off even as a young boy, he started there. And then it went on and on and on. Eventually he built, like he saw opportunity in the oil, became the biggest company, and then he was a monopoly, and then eventually the government had to break it up. But he started as a kid, right? And so would you say that, are you born an entrepreneur, or can you be like taught, brought up into it, you know?
So that's a good question. There's different opinions on this, okay? And I'm going to give you mine. So I think Gary Vee, something along the line, said like entrepreneur DNA and entrepreneur tendencies. Okay? So DNA is like you have it in the blood. You're an entrepreneur. Tendencies is like you like the idea. You want to be an entrepreneur. You are kind of attracted to it, but you don't necessarily have what it takes to be an entrepreneur, right? Or you have some of the characteristics, ideas of an entrepreneur. But I believe this, okay? I do believe some people are like, I don't know if it's naturally born. I don't necessarily believe like maybe natural born. Like that's you. You're an entrepreneur. But I had that as a young kid, so I don't know. Maybe I'm contradicting myself. You know, because as a young kid, I wanted that. Very young. At 8 years old, I used to sell things.
Yeah.
I would cry to go to work. You know, and I remember my cousin like, hey, what? Like, this dude can sell. I remember vividly. They used to always say this to me. Because I would always, customer comes in, I'm on them. Like, I wanted it. I would get happy, excited because I would sell. So that was me as a kid.
Yeah.
Now, was it because I watched my dad and my uncles do it? Or did I just have that in me? You know? I don't know. That's hard to kind of decide.
Yeah.
You know? But I think the circumstance sometimes decides your path.
Okay.
You know? Because you've seen guys that have want nothing to do with entrepreneurship, nothing to do with opening a business. And the economy gets bad, something happens, they get laid off, and they go start a business. There's plenty of success stories you hear, like, hey, yeah, I was working a 9 to 5, and I got laid off. One of my buddies who told me that a few weeks ago. I got laid off, and I decided to go into this business. You know, so it's almost like it wasn't a choice. Like, hey, I need to survive. I need to feed my family. I need to live. I need to have a house. I got to make a choice.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm going to just go in and open a business or do a side hustle that turns into a business. You know, so that guy probably had nothing. He was not born with it, had no interest in it. But the circumstance led him to that. So I think if you want it bad enough, if you believe it bad enough, and you are determined, you have mental fortitude, then you can make it happen.
Very interesting. That's very powerful. And so that's something powerful you said, the entrepreneur DNA or tendencies. Like when it comes before, like people, there's a lot of people like the majority of businesses fail within 5 years. He's like 50% of businesses fail. It's you see often that people like just jump into it head first. How important is it to know like, am I built for entrepreneurship?
Man, like I said, sometimes it's just a circumstance. So the truth is, you have some guys that are like, yeah, I'm an entrepreneur. This is what I do. I'm one of those guys. I believe this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna figure it out one way or another. But you don't necessarily know unless you are that guy that's like, hey, I believe I was put on this earth for that. I believe I was put on this earth for this, to be an entrepreneur. I don't see me doing anything else. I will refuse to sit in an office 9 to 5. I can't see it. It's not possible for me. You know what I mean? Now, if I lose everything, I can't eat, I can't feed my family, yeah, I would do a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
If it's just that's it. I'll make myself do it. But the truth is, you don't really know until you do it. Now, some guys just refuse to do it because they have no interest in it. Complete no interest. Like, I don't care for this at all. You know? Some guys refuse to do it because they're afraid to do it. You know what I'm saying? So, and some guys are the most successful because they didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
They were poor. They didn't have money. They needed to make something happen. And them going into entrepreneurship, self-employment, led them to where they're at. So it starts off with, okay, do I completely hate it? I don't want nothing to do with it, or I'm afraid of it. But the truth, like I said, is you don't know until you do it.
Yeah. You think anybody can be an entrepreneur?
No. I want to say yes, right? But I'm not going to sit here and lie. Because the problem with today's society, man, is people make it out to seem easier than what it is. And I've said this before, entrepreneurship is if not the hardest thing you will ever do in your life. Doesn't matter what you do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's the hardest thing that you will do. And so when people think it's like sunshine and rainbows, they say, I can get into entrepreneurship. I can do my passion for money. I'm going to live my dream. You know, I'm going to work 20 hours a week or 10 hours a week and make, you know, $4,000 a week, $5,000 a week, whatever it is. Or I'm going to be a millionaire, you know? And then reality smacks him in the face and it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So at today's time, not anybody can be an entrepreneur.
100%. That's crazy. And I was mentioning this because obviously so people understand what they're getting into, you know? Because like you said, everything is sunshine and rainbows, especially if you look at it on Instagram. You only see the riches, you know, and the benefits, but you don't see all the other ugly stuff. But now we discussed what it takes, what it looks like, right? And but now to the idea. So how do you determine like what will be a good idea? You know, obviously, as an entrepreneur, you're going to believe that your idea is the best idea, right? And so you're not gonna really have doubts. Like in your mind, everything's gonna turn out like this. I'm gonna have this amount of customers. I'm gonna have this profit. Boom, boom, boom. Then I'm gonna go out into the Mercedes dealership, walk out with the G-Wagon, you know, laughing to the bank. So you imagine all these things, right? Like I had saw this one business, and I mentioned to you before. It was like a Pokemon trading card business, but it was a brick and mortar business. It wasn't like an eBay business, like online. It was like a brick and mortar business, and like you buy cars and like you buy memorabilia like that, and it's like, that place I never seen it busy. I don't know what they got going on, but in my opinion, that doesn't sound like a very profitable business, you know, because it's such a very small market, and in today's time, it's not something that people really do anymore. Maybe back in the 2000s, 90s, but how do you go determine that if this is a good idea, or there's no way to find out unless you do it?
So you kind of gotta look at the obvious, right? We talked about this Pokemon business last week. You know, And and the truth is, sometimes you get caught by surprise. Like comic business, also people do comics, and that's like a big thing apparently, you know. But you got to look at where you're at. You know what I'm saying? Location, where you are, you know, population and all that. But you got to look at the obvious, like these Pokemon traders, card traders. Are they going to a store to buy this stuff, or are they trading among a forum with other Pokemon enthusiasts? You know what I mean? Something like obvious like that. Now, I'm not saying that business is not successful. We may be caught by surprise, and that's a big money business.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, the idea, man, how you come up with ideas, you look at kind of like the trends. What are the trends in society right now? Is Pokemon as big as it was when like I was? I remember me and my brothers had like a book this thick of Pokemon cards. You know what I mean? And each page had like 12 to 16 cards on it. And there was hundreds of pages. So you do the math how many cards that was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that was back in the days. It's still the same thing. You know what I mean? You look at like Blockbuster. Can you open a Blockbuster now and be successful?
Probably not.
Probably not. Now, these things you can always get caught by surprise, right? But that's kind of like the obvious. Now, Blockbuster. Who wants to go? Every now and then, somebody might do it, right? Like I'm at Walmart, I see a DVD. Okay, I want that. But who's gonna go to Blockbuster now when everything's on Netflix, HBO, whatever it is, Hulu, Paramount?
Yeah.
You just do it on your phone. That's just an obvious idea. Why would I open a Blockbuster? You know, in today's time. Now, 20, 30 years ago, that was booming.
Yep.
I loved Blockbuster. You know?
That was a whole experience.
That was a whole experience. You know? And, but now, like, that's just an obvious thing. Like, if somebody comes up with the idea, you know, would it work? Probably not. That's just the obvious. Why? Because we've transformed this in society, right? Just like clothing stores, right? Can you open a clothing brand? Yes, but most clothing brands, where are they?
Online.
They're online. Even the new successful brands, right? They went from brick and mortar to online. So is it saying that if you open a clothing boutique, is it going to fail? No. But if you open a boutique, you have to have good rep. You have to know some people, right? You have to have good product for a good price, you know? And maybe it'll work. But most girls are ordering stuff off of Shein or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so that's why we see malls as a ghost town. There's not a mall you can walk into that's like, oh my gosh. You know what I mean? Not anymore, which is sad. You know, that's another example is, am I going to open a clothing store, brick and mortar, or I'm going to open a clothing brand, and we're going to go online with it?
Yeah.
That's just obvious things to look at right there, you know?
Yeah. That's interesting. And also, like, when you come up with the idea, like, one thing that's very important is what makes you unique, right? What about you, right? Because obviously, like I said, you're going to assume that my idea is going to be successful. Like,
right.
My restaurant, my whatever, my product. But if your product doesn't really distinguish itself from others, then at that point, people just compare prices or compare like food convenience, right? So it's like, how important is that when it comes to the idea?
Like how good the idea should be?
Yes, like how unique your idea is.
So the idea needs to be special. Especially I tell people in today's time, right? Today's time, everything is online. Like sometimes I hate that. Me and one of the coaches, one of my jiu-jitsu coaches, Coach Jason, we're talking and he was like, why do I need something along the lines like, why do I need Amazon Prime? You know what I mean? Like I can wait 5 days to get this product if I don't wait till the last minute to order it. But why do I have to pay them $100 whatever it is, a year to have that option to get it the next day or 2 days later. And I feel like, dude, really? Like, I keep telling myself I need to cancel mine.
Yeah.
You know, but I am a last minute person sometimes. Like today, we bought something from the party.
Yeah.
I got it Prime. So like, that's an example. Is like being unique. You know, separating yourself to be successful. Because if you're part of the crew, part of everybody, just like everybody else, then they're gonna look at your price. So the idea needs to be special, right? And if the idea is not special, necessarily, let's say coffee shop.
Mm-hmm.
How many coffee shops are there?
There's a lot.
Today's more and more and more every day, right? So what's gonna separate your coffee shop from the next coffee shop? This is just an example because I want a coffee shop, right?
Yeah.
And I've been studying a lot on this. I open a coffee shop, next coffee shop. What separates mine from yours? You know? So the idea, we both have the idea of a coffee shop.
Yeah.
And there's coffee businesses that are successful. And in today's time, people love coffee. They love going to, like what we called it this morning, we were sitting at the coffee shop, like a coffee boutique.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like a Dunkin' or Starbucks. Like those businesses, yeah, they're successful. You know, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, their business. But why the coffee boutique or the hole-in-the-wall coffee shop? People are trending toward that now. And instead of paying $3-4, whatever it is at Dunkin', for a caramel latte, I paid $3 at Dunkin'.
Mm-hmm.
For a pretty big one, a large at another coffee shop. And at another coffee shop, it's $7-8. But people are willing to pay for it at this nice, cute coffee shop. You know? And it's the aesthetic, the environment, the people. You know what I mean? The reputation, the quality. You know, it's not just some low-quality brewed coffee. It's special, highly roasted, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, roasted in-house, all that stuff. You know? So the idea it has to have something unique. You have to be able to attract something because how many people want open food? We were talking to somebody last week about food trucks.
Yeah.
You know? What separates your food truck from the thousands of other food trucks? You're going to sell tacos? Guess what? The one across the street sells tacos.
True.
You know what I mean? Like, I taco trucks. There's nothing, like, I like one taco truck. It's in the hood.
Yeah.
That's the only taco truck I like. You know what I'm saying? For some reason, I just like that taco truck. You know? It's probably the price. You know, I did pay $1.25 for tacos, and they're some $2.50 now, you know? Just being real with you.
They say that's dog meat right there.
You know? So, I don't know. You know which taco truck I'm talking about?
No.
The one in front of Superman?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I need to start going there. I didn't know tacos were $125.
I don't know if they still are, but when I was going, they were $125.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that's just an example. Like, what's going to separate your taco trucks from the thousands of other taco trucks, food trucks?
That's very interesting because what you mentioned about the coffee shop is what made that coffee shop unique. Like for the example you used was, yeah, you're probably serving. Let's say you're serving the same coffee as these other guys, but the experience you're offering, now that right there is what gives you the edge compared to like Dunkin' or Starbucks. You walk in there, and most of them they're corporate, so most of them they all look the same, and you know what to expect and the layouts and everything. But like you walk to a local one, and the experience that you offer, it's a different experience that people is not so bland like the other.
Yeah.
Right. So that right there an example of like how you can lead through. Okay, how am I gonna be unique? The experience, the vibe, the feeling, right? Mm-hmm. But also it's like at the same time, it's like people when it comes to like taco trucks, we were talking about the taco trucks, right? You see them like, oh, taco trucks are booming. That just means that I just need to put one and mine is going to be booming too. Mm-hmm. But how important can you talk about when it comes to finding your audience, like finding your people that are going to consume from you, right? 'Cause it's not just well, anybody who wants, right? Obviously, you have to have a target. Not just anybody with money, which that would really be everybody. But if that was the case, then every business will be successful because everybody got money.
Right. So you have to start with what is it that you kind of have an idea of what you want to do. What drives you? What do you like? What's your passion? What gets you going? What excites you? What sparks your fire? Okay? And you need to have like a niche. You know, you need to know, okay, I want to sell coffee, and the coffee that I want to sell is to attract this audience. Okay, let's give an example. Well, I don't know if this is the best example, but I'm going to give it. Selling coffee like in a midtown of a city, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like a midtown, like a, yeah, let's just say midtown.
Yeah.
You know, selling coffee to those folks and selling coffee to the folks in the suburbs is two different things. You know, now, if you go to the coffee like in Midtown here, you know, it's a different complete group of people. They love their coffee, and they go to the same coffee shop over and over again. The group of individuals in the suburbs maybe have a little more money. You know, now instead of them being, you know, like Midtown, that's where school is, right? A lot of college students, you know, maybe lower income, different vibes, you know, more like, what is the vibe? I can't think of the word, but you know what I'm talking about.
I feel you.
I can't think of the word for it, but and then you come to the suburbs and there's professionals, careers, jobs, you know. Somebody's gonna come in, grab his cup of coffee, and go to work first thing in the morning, you know, or somebody's gonna come in, have a meeting, a business meeting, go to work.
Mm-hmm.
Compared to somebody that's gonna come and sit here all day because they're in school, you know. So who do you want to attract? Who are you looking for? We're both selling the same product. I'm selling coffee. One is to an individual of school, college students, or business professionals. You know, that's if you want to dive deep. Instead of saying I'm selling coffee to people.
Yeah.
It's two different areas. One area, a little more wealth, affluent, right? And one area, a little more, a little less wealthier, but a little more poor.
Yeah.
You know? So when you have an idea, you got to think about deep down what it is that you want to do and who's going to buy from you. It's almost to the point where, you know, for example, like coffee shop in the suburbs. I'm going to be expecting a man that's anywhere from his mid-30s to his mid-40s, maybe early 50s, that works a 9 to 5. That's a corporate business, maybe, you know, in the corporate world, climbing the corporate ladder.
Mm-hmm.
From mid-35 to early 50s. That's who I expect in my coffee shop. If I open it in this area, and if I open it in area B, I'm going to expect 18-year-olds to, you know, mid-20s, late 20s to be at my coffee shop.
Yep.
So I need to know who I want. I'm going to have the Karen, the 35, 40-year-old Karen with 3 kids, you know, 2 in school, elementary school, and 1 that's a toddler.
Yeah.
For example, like you need to like have your, what we call the avatar. The avatar is your ideal customer. Who is it? You need to know the avatar, who the ideal customer is. This is going to be the normal that comes into your business, and what you want to do. You know, that's where it starts.
Finding the target audience. That is very true because that right there alone that we just discussed, that just changed up the whole coffee shop. Because if it's like
Completely
a mom of 2, then you're gonna accommodate. There's certain things that they want, certain things that they feel like, certain things in their life they got going on. That compared to like college students, they have a different vibe and different things that they're looking for.
Yep.
That's very interesting. Then that's like 2 different worlds right there.
Yep.
Same business, same coffee, selling coffee, completely different structure and everything.
Exactly.
Very powerful. But now, just to like kind of bring this as a whole, like the idea, like when you are generating your idea, what do you have in mind? Like, yeah, I have a business idea, but it's not just make money. Like, what things do you need to keep in mind when you're thinking about a business, when you're thinking about opening it up? Because obviously you get blindsided by just thinking about the success, right? Like in terms of like problem solving,
Right.
this and that.
So when you want to open up a business, you got to look at a lot of things. The obvious is it needs to be successful. It needs to pay the bills. If you say otherwise, you're lying. Okay, this is if you're opening a business, a startup. Now we've talked about this before. If you're an investor, you're investing into there's an investment group that are buying properties or buying businesses. That's different. You invest some money and then your return comes back to you for 7%, whatever the return is. Okay, but when you're starting a business, the obvious is it needs to make money. Okay. Now, the other part needs to be what's going on in the world. What's growing, what's a fad, what's a trend, whatever it is. What's trending right now? What are people looking for right now? What's hot? What's trending hard? What's going going up very, very high? And what's seemed like it's going up and it's shooting back down? Do you want to get into something that shot up and now it's coming right back down head first? Or do you want something that's consistently going up? Right? So you got to kind of think about that. Is there growth in this? How much is the growth? What's growing? And this can be something simple. Just look in your area, for example. Say you want to see a coffee shop. How many coffee shops are in your area? How many coffee shops were in your area? How many closed down? Just that simple to start off. We're talking about very basic. Now, we can get very sophisticated in all this, but we're just keeping this entry level, right? Basic. Is when looking for something, what is it that people are looking for? Because if I can solve the problem for somebody, I can make money.
That is very interesting. So find the problem, right? Find problems, and then offer a solution to them, like services. But that's very powerful. But another thing is that I see is that in entrepreneurship is that obviously, like we mentioned, people, the goal is just to make money, right? And so they just open up the business, right? Maybe no research or nothing. And let's say it's a booming economy. Like for example, like you said that at one point you got into selling gold, right? But that you came in late at it, right? Now with your experience, like how can you determine when how do you see that a market is gonna go up, or the wave is coming, or the wave passed you and now it's too late to get on that wave?
Yeah, so I like you brought up that example. So when I was late teens, and maybe 19, early 20s, 20, I started in buying gold. I would buy gold and I would sell gold, right? So I would buy scrap gold, people's old jewelry, tore up necklace, tore up ring, tore up bracelet. And like I said, I was just looking for opportunity to make money. Back then, this is obvious. This is not no secret. Back then, you still see people with "We Buy Gold" signs. Compramos oro. Sí, compramos oro. Okay? We buy gold, English and Spanish.
Yeah.
Back then, there was a time where the whole country, there's entrepreneurs that went on a spree of buying gold. You would knock on the door, literally, and this is one of the most dangerous things I don't recommend it to anybody. You go to the hood, you go to projects, you go to apartments. You would knock on the door, "We buy gold. Here's my card. You have any gold for sale?" Okay? Yes, I have gold for sale. You check it. If it's real, you offer them the money. They want to sell it, they sell it. They don't want to sell it, they don't sell it. You move on. Okay? And so that time, it was, the economy wasn't the best, maybe 2008, no. So 2008 is probably when it started, I want to say. 2010, I don't know. The time wasn't the best time. People needed money.
Yeah.
What does that mean? There's a problem. People need money. But people had gold. They had jewelry. So if they need money, but they have something, you're offering them money for something, they're gonna sell. And I know guys that made lots of money on this.
Yeah.
You know, I was young. I had parents that did not want me entering this field, right? Because it's extremely dangerous. You're walking around saying, "Hey, I have cash. Do you want it?" You're a walking teller, right? So you're a target automatically. So that's just an example. Now, whoever got into it early on that spotted this, that saw this coming and got into it early, became super successful, beyond measure.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking about on another level. Okay? And so this was hot very for a couple years. A year or so, 2 years, 2 years. Because everybody hit this at one time.
Yeah.
Okay? And so now people bought up the gold. Now it started dying back down. The price of the gold came down. So when the price of the gold comes down, now people don't want to sell it because they're not getting much for it. Now, at that time, for example, toward the end of it, are you going to go open? And I did open a We Buy Gold store. You know, I opened one at 19 years old, 18, 19. I opened a We Buy Gold store.
Yeah.
At the wrong time. Did not work. I opened it at the end of it, but I didn't pay attention to the trend, the pattern.
Yeah.
The pattern was boom, boom. You know, this is everything fluctuates, right? And so when I opened it, I didn't pay attention to the pattern where it dipped. And so I opened at the wrong time at the dip. Guess what? Nobody's selling gold. So that business was a fail.
Dang. So would you say that you got caught up in like the idea of riches because you saw other people being successful, and then you just jumped into it without necessarily thinking?
Yeah. So I mean,
looking into the future.
Well, when you see a return on a product, you know, you get a good profit on it, and you're looking at gold in your hand. You know, obviously as a teenager, as a young man, like I got gold. You know what I mean? And then I know what I'm getting for it profit-wise. And did I see success in it? I saw some success in it. I'm not going to say how I didn't see no success in it. I saw success in it, okay? But I did still get caught up in the fact that, and this is just truth. We're human. If you say otherwise, you're lying. You always look, and you shouldn't look in a malice way, but you always look to the next entrepreneur. Well, so-and-so made, you know, X amount of dollars off of this. That means it's still out there. Or so-and-so is making this. And that dude may not be even making anything anymore. But it appears like it is. So, yeah, I did get caught up in it. Like, okay, I can make this work. I can make this happen. You know? And if he did it, I can do it. You know? And so, for part of it, yeah, I did caught up. Because I got caught up in the fact that I saw some success. Right? I bought some stuff. Right? And people were still saying it's out there, which is, it's always out there.
Yeah.
You know, it's always out there.
It's very interesting. So it's like, that's another thing that you see happen. Like, I remember a couple years ago, one thing that was very popular was like the roll-up ice cream.
Yeah.
You know? So that thing was like, so many stores or like locations, like that was their niche. They're like the roll-up ice cream.
Yep.
Fast forward 5 years later, it's not so much, right? Now you see people doing more like what's really popping right now, are like poke bowls and boba, right? And boba has really been popping. It's all over the country. People really like it. But how do you determine when something is a fad, right? And when it is going to stay? You know, like the roll-up ice cream, that thing was a fad for a while.
Yeah.
Right? And died out. You see it all the time. Things pop up, and boom. Then it's dead a couple years ago. Should even get into that just for the time being and then move on?
So that's where I was going to go next when you asked that question is, like, let's look at the time when the gold industry, the We Buy Gold time, right? It's not that I couldn't get into it, right? I got into it. But the way I look at it, especially when you're trying to get something going, right? Now, if you're successful, I'm not talking to you, obviously, right? When you're successful, when you're successful and you have money, your stress and your priorities, your responsibilities, your problems kind of change, right? Your problem to need money is not there anymore. So you may not want to waste your time in a business for 3 or 4 years and put your headache and time and sweat in there and either lose it or get out of it 3 or 4 years later. you might are looking for something more long term. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So for somebody like me as a teenager, I saw an opportunity. Okay, I can get into it because that, for example, we all knew that it was gonna go away. We just didn't know when. Okay, we just didn't know when it's gonna go away. So could I have got in it for 2, 3, 4 years, saw the success and got out of it? Absolutely, I can absolutely have done that. You know, and I did do that. I got out of it. I didn't stay in it. You know, so sometimes it's almost like you hit a jackpot, right? If you do it right, perfect timing, you read the patterns, you know, the rolled ice cream. You get in there right when it's hot, you open a business, boom, boom, just, I mean, stacking money, right?
Yeah.
Profit. But you also got to pay attention, okay, what's going on? It slows down from X month to X month. It slows down in the summertime. It slows down, you know, in the wintertime. It probably picks up in the summertime, slows down in the wintertime, probably, you know. And I'm looking around, and it's peaking, and then I see it start coming down. And all it's doing is starts coming down. And as it's coming down, I'm noticing a lot of people closing. That's an opportunity where you can try to boost your product and try to get the customers, or you pay attention like, okay, I'm losing money, or I'm not making money, and people are closing. Then you have to have an exit plan. What is your exit plan? You know, and that's a completely different topic.
Yeah.
But it comes back to this. I meant to say this earlier, is patterns. The best entrepreneurs, I've been telling my fighters this the last few weeks I've been teaching, the best fighters, the best entrepreneurs, they pick up patterns. If you can read patterns and you can pick up the patterns, you will see a little more success. You know, so you have to pay attention to patterns. What is the pattern? You know, we have a pattern when it's election time. What happens to the economy?
Yep.
It takes a poop. You know what I mean? Like, it's just the truth. Look at us right now. And it's only finna get worse before the end of the year, leading into next year. Right?
Yep.
This is just a pattern. Every 8 years, 4 years. Same thing. You know what I mean? So is it, for example, the best time to open your business now? Maybe not. Can you still open a business and be successful? Absolutely. Risk versus reward. How much money you have. You know, how good is your idea? You know?
Yeah. That's very interesting. They say like jumping on opportunities. Because I remember there was this one guy on Amazon. He wrote a book, and it was just a title. He wrote, it was a Kindle book, but it was just a title. I think it was something related to Trump. Like in the 2020 election, it was something related to him about how like he got cheated or whatever, right? And thousands of people bought this book. He made a lot of money off of it. And it was a blank book. It was just a title. And he made money. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me, man. But that's very interesting. So would you say like for entrepreneurs, like is that like when it comes to their idea, like is it okay just to go in and out? Is that feasible, or is your goal as an entrepreneur is eventually to get into something long term?
So everybody has different goals. Everybody has different goals. Everybody has different things. For example, like, where are you at in life? You know, where are you at in life? Do you have a family? Do you have a stable income? Do you have a stable job? You know what I mean? What is your end goal? You know, the amount of ideas that I went through, I can start throwing them out there. I had a bedding store, a retail mattress store, at the time of the fidget spinners. Remember the fidget spinners?
Yeah.
The world went nuts. I went in and I drove, you know, over 20, 30 hours to a warehouse in a minivan, loaded the minivan up with fidget spinners, getting all sort of kinds, right? But I was a little late. I still got them damn fidget spinners till today. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I was playing with one on my desk the other day. Like, I saw one in my drawer in my kitchen the other day. Like, I find them everywhere. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that was in 2017. It's been 7 years. I still got them damn things.
Wow.
You know, so like I entered it. Did I sell some of it? Yeah, I sold some of them. But I wasn't successful. I entered it at the wrong time. I was late. You know what I mean? So that's an example. You know, like I went to mess with something that was trending fast, but it took a big dump fast. Okay? So I got in on the downside of it. Now if I got in early on the peak, I would have made money.
Yeah.
You know? But I was young. I had a little extra cash. I wanted to take a risk. I wanted to try it. If it works, it works. You know, I'm obviously thinking it's going to work. It didn't work. I still got them until today.
Yeah.
You know? So it depends on what your goals are. Like, I'm the kind of guy that, like, okay, it's coming up, let's do it. Boom. Like, if I want to do something, I just want to jump on it.
Yeah.
I'm going to go all in. You know? A lot of people are not like that. A lot of people are like, I'm going to go in, I'm going to be focused. And I suggest focus. Pick one thing and go after it. That's why I suggest learning after my plenty of mistakes, right? But I like to make money where I can.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't like to sit stagnant. I see something, I want to try to make money in it. You know, now I'm not going to empty the bank on it. You know?
Yeah.
It's almost like gambling, bro. That's the other way. That's the only way I can put it. Like, okay, I'm going to throw X amount of dollars. I think it's going to work. And then you figure out, damn, I lost that money.
Yeah.
You know? So, like, for me, that excites me. You know? But recently, I've turned into more, like, focused. Like, I'm not going to look left. I'm not going to look right. This is what I'm sticking to. You know? And that came with experience and age.
Yeah.
You know?
It's very interesting. And now that you mentioned about, like gambling, right? Because that really kind of is a gamble, right? A gamble on your dream, a gamble on your vision. But let's say this. Because many entrepreneurs, like the most successful entrepreneurs, they've had a failed business. And they'll say, I failed 9 times. I failed 13 times. I failed 5 times before I found success. As people embark into the journey, right, with their idea, and they try to implement it, and let's say it fails. There's a big probability, right? Hopefully everybody listens to this, you succeed and you make money. God bless you. And you donate to the podcast. You buy the podcast merch. But when you fail, and let's say you had the greatest idea in the world, right? You believed hard into this. Now you're discouraged. How do you keep going again?
So that's where you lose entrepreneurs. And maybe, I don't want to diss anybody. Maybe you weren't an entrepreneur from the get-go. Maybe you thought you were, you know? So maybe you thought you were an entrepreneur. You thought you were an entrepreneur. You weren't an entrepreneur. Okay? People think they're entrepreneurs. Okay? But are you truly an entrepreneur? Because I say a true entrepreneur finds a way. Doesn't matter whether selling rocks, selling food, selling diapers, selling hats, selling shoes, whatever it is, you find a way. That's what an entrepreneur does. And I was talking to one of my friends that owns a business, and he was telling me, like, buckle up, like it's going to get bad. And I told him, like, he's telling me it's very stressful and whatnot. And I said that's what makes us who we are. These are the times that decide who we are. I told him, I said, let's saddle up, buckle up. You know, weather the storm. Like, this is part of it. That's who we are, entrepreneurs. We are made for these times. Does it suck? Is it stressful? It doesn't make it any easier? No, it doesn't. But that's what we do.
Yeah.
We weather the storm. You have to have that, right? And so you have to go, when one idea fails, you move to the next. I can list them off right now. You know what I mean? Of idea after idea after idea that failed and failed, but I kept going to the next one. I kept moving to the next one. During the pandemic, okay, all my businesses got shut down. We were forced to close. Okay, we're not going to get into that, right? The small pops and mom shops closed, but the big corporate opened up, right? And so I found an opportunity. It was face masks. Nobody can get them.
Yeah.
But your boy can get them. Okay? So that was at the time during the pandemic where I had people cussing me out, people, flagging me, people trying to, like, cancel my, like, social media, people, like, reporting me because they were like, and it's true, I mean, I get it. Why are you selling masks when the hospitals need it? Now, you ask me, that was a bunch of BS going on.
Yeah.
If you ask me, hospital can't get a mask, but I can get a mask.
Yeah.
What's going on? You don't have connection. Multi-billion-dollar industry. You can't get no face mask, but me can get some face masks. Okay? So I found the opportunity in that. Right? Because my businesses did not fail, but they were shut down. I needed to make money. I needed to find a way. So I started selling face masks. And it was started from small talk to, damn, I'm doing this now. I went in, saw some success in it.
Yeah.
You know? That was just a temporary time.
Yeah.
Just quick, make money and be out of it.
Okay. So as an entrepreneur, you can also do those like small ventures.
Yeah, you can.
Boom, boom,
There's
boom,
nothing
boom.
wrong with it. You know, like I said, I'm the one. I like that stuff. That stuff excites me, and that was just 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't have a choice. I needed something. I needed to make something happen. I saw a problem, and I had an opportunity to fix it. Now, if I got into it earlier, even more I would have saw. You know, it's timing. It's patterns. I read the pattern a little late. Not the end of it. I read it like past the midpoint. If I caught it early on, of course I would have been more successful. But I picked up the pattern a little quicker than I usually do. You know? And I didn't have a choice. I needed to make money. But that went away. That was like a fad, you can call it.
Yeah.
You know?
That is very true. And it goes back to what I've noticed from this conversation and from hearing you speak is that entrepreneurship is not so much of like it is like passion, it is chasing a dream, and it is these beautiful things like that Hollywood portrays it, right? Like you imagine a certain way, but from hearing you speak, entrepreneurship is a very cerebral game. It's a very smart game. It's a very just common sense thinking way. Like it's just very smart. You know, like you said, notice patterns, take advantage of it. Boom, like read the market. Like for example, like I remember back in before the pandemic happened, it was like 2019, like November, October, and there was a whole lot talking about a coronavirus, and it's spreading all over China. If you were like, in the sense like there's just an example. Obviously, in hindsight, everything is 2020. Vision is 2020, right? But just for examples, like you started seeing all that thing. Now you made some research. Now you don't believe the lies they're saying. Oh, it's gonna stay in here. You realize that it's very contagious. Am I spread around the world? How can I take advantage of that? Like how can where's the opportunity gonna be?
Right.
Whether it be like gloves, whatever, like surgical things. What are the causes? Like that right there is an example of you saw something was coming, and then you took advantage of the opportunity. Well, they say that the biggest times to make things happen and take opportunity is when bad times are happening.
Yeah.
But from like I said, hearing you speak, like entrepreneurship, it's really a mental game. Like it's kind of like it's chess, not so much of which I think kind of people sometimes get caught up on the marketing, get caught up on making the product, and all that's very important. Like making sure that let's say I got the best burritos in town, but at the same time, it's like if you don't know how to play the moves with that, then somebody who makes bland burritos but they play better moves, they can still beat you in the game. You know? But that's crazy. That it's such a mental game. But what would you say that an entrepreneur has to have? You have to be like before you open up a business, like you have to be mentally strong. You have to be resilient. Be all these things, you know, that you would say looking back throughout your journey.
So everything that we talked about, right? Obviously, you need mental strength. You need mental fortitude. You need all this. But right now on this episode, we're talking about the idea, right? The entrepreneur needs to be innovative. You need to have innovation, right? You need to be able to change quick. You need to be able to pick up patterns, right? You need to know what to change, what to add, what to remove. So you have to be able to pick these up fast. And just an example of like COVID, when the whole virus thing started coming out, I'm like, F them. That's what I'm thinking. I did not care. I had no care. Now, was I keeping an eye on it? Yeah, I was. I went, before all of it officially shut down, I went to Sam's Club probably a week or two before it shut down. And this is where I get pissed sometimes. Because this dude read the market. This dude was smart.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, like, I'm going to go buy food and I'm buying medicines. Like, this is what I'm going to do. I've spent so much money. I grabbed a big old flatbed cart and I stacked it. The back of my pickup truck was full of how much food and stuff I bought.
Yeah.
Like, bro, if they shut down, they shut down. Okay? And so I remember being in line. And I look over to my left, and this dude had a flatbed cart. You know what it was full of?
What?
Germex and gloves.
I was going to say toilet paper. Dang.
Germex. Of course, people went on the toilet paper fad, but they just did it so they can wipe their butt. They didn't do it to make money. I was trying to buy toilet paper to sell it.
Yeah.
You know? And I was able to get it on the... No, that's not veer off here. But I looked over, this dude had Germex and gloves. This is before it shut down. So if it clicked in my mind, like I looked over, like, why is this fool guy Germex and gloves? He bought like the whole shelf. Instead of like virus, people are gonna freak out. Germex, keep your hands clean. You need gloves. You need face masks. You need disinfectant wipes, disinfectant sprays. If you got into these 4 things alone, I'm not even BSing you. You could have been a millionaire. And I know guys that did it.
Dang.
I know guys that did it. And so when I looked I still think about that until today. I'm like, you need to become a better businessman. You need to become a better entrepreneur. You need to read the patterns better because that dude was ready. Okay? So that was just an example. That dude was thinking. In business and entrepreneurs, you know this. You need to be 5 steps ahead of the game. But the more steps you are ahead of the game, the more you have at being more successful. The more steps. So you're reading a pattern ahead of time. You're predicting what's going to happen. Now, sometimes you're wrong. Okay? And so during that time, I do give myself props because obviously I still have masks until today. So if you want to buy some face masks and hand sanitizer, I got you. But I had a connection because, the toilet paper, everybody sold out. I had connection to get toilet paper.
Yeah.
I had it. I was like, I got it locked in. I read the market and I studied it. I said, man, by the time it comes in, by the time I get it, it won't be worth it. So I do give myself a pat on the back for that because I decided the risk versus reward, the risk was a lot higher than the reward. Compared to me at 18, I'm like, just give it to me, send it, bam.
Yeah.
And then I'll still have the product like my fidget spinners until today. So picking up, as an entrepreneur, you need to read patterns. You need to pick up. You need to know the idea, which idea, right? We're talking about idea from, to make it a reality. Is changing, innovations. Your idea needs to change sometimes. You need to know when to pivot. That was pivoting. What I did during the pandemic was pivot. Well, I went to a completely different business. But I didn't have a choice, right? A lot of times when people get in the worst economical position or the economy's in the worst position or the worst bad times, right, they lock up, they freeze up. As an entrepreneur, you need to pivot. You need to make a change right away. You need to come up with an idea right away. You need to be thinking about new ideas all the damn time. That does not stop with me. The whole day, I probably, honestly, like hundreds of times I think of ideas. 100 different, just randomly, like nonstop. I'm traveling for a tournament. I go into a mall. I go into a store. I go into a restaurant. Whatever it is, I'm thinking about things, about ideas to make their business better. Just me thinking about it.
Yeah.
Nonstop. That's just me practicing. Me getting reps on my ideas and getting ideas in. That's it. And so this episode is about ideas. And so as an entrepreneur, you need to be able to come up with ideas, know how to change them, know how to sharpen them, know how to fix them, know how to control, alt, delete. You need to know how to control the idea, alternate it if you need to, and delete it when it has to be deleted.
Powerful. I want to give one example. Like, this is a very famous example when it comes to like looking steps ahead. Like during the gold rush, the 1849 gold rush. That's what the 49ers would call that. During the 1849 gold rush, there were so many people going to California because they heard somebody struck gold and they heard there was gold there. At the end of the day, once you look back in history, the people that made money were not the people that went looking for gold. It was the people that went, they opened up saloons. They sold pickaxes to the people that go get gold. They opened up restaurants. They opened up services for those people. So they knew that there was hot people were looking for gold. They're like, okay, there's a crap ton of people looking for gold, right? That's a lot of competition. These people need clothes. These people need to eat. These people need all these services. Let me provide that. That's just an example of, like you mentioned, like it's strategic, seeing patterns, seeing 5 steps ahead.
Yep. So interesting you brought that up, okay? Because you know which company that's still until today that opened during the gold rush?
What?
Levi's.
Really?
Yeah. And so Levi's, if you look at their logo, if you ever pay attention to it, it's 2 horses pulling the jeans apart. Trying to pull the jeans apart. And so back then, if I recall correctly, right, that's during the gold rush. The guy that opened the company realized that they needed clothes that was durable enough to work the gold mines. And so, if I remember this correctly, right, I don't want to jack it up. He made jeans out of tarp. You know, back then the tarp was not like this.
Yeah.
Like, you know, those thick canvas that you can't even rip. Tents are made out of it sometimes. He made it out of tarp. And his advertisement was like, jeans are so durable, they will last a long time during the gold rush. And that's where he got the idea of 2 horses pulling the jeans and they can't rip the jeans. That was during the gold rush.
Wow, powerful. I did not know that.
Mid-1800s, something around there.
Yeah, I think cause I know the 49ers call that.
49. Until today, I wear Levi's until today.
That's powerful.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
But he had an idea. And look at the idea. I mean, you're talking about 175 years? Almost 175 years later?
Yeah.
The company's still here.
Powerful.
You know what I mean? So, idea. And this is what we're going to wrap it up with right there. That's one of the best examples you can have, right? But there's so many companies that are like this. Amazon, you know, anybody that you want on Netflix, right? Who else we can think about?
Man, Tesla.
Anybody.
Apple.
Apple, look at what Apple did. You know, like it started with an idea. You know, so the idea is very crucial. The idea needs to be unique. The idea needs to be special. You know what I mean? If you are not special, and your product is just a product, the consumer is going to compare prices. Okay? And and that's another topic, we don't want to get into the comparing prices thing because at the end of the day, they're going to buy what's cheaper. If you have 2 of the same products, they're going to buy what's cheaper. So if your idea is unique and you have something special and you are special and you can change the idea and you keep making it better and you keep innovating, keep changing, right? Read the market. What's your idea? See where the market trend is going. Then you can start on the right path. You know, because just like I'll be the first example. Got into things on the dip. Did I see a little success? Yes, I did. But I didn't see the success that I needed to truly be successful in that field, in that product.
Powerful.
Cool? So, guys, that was episode 1. I hope you enjoyed it. And there's 3 more episodes on this. Let us know what you think about these. Please let us know in the comments what you think about these so we know what you think. And we want to know your opinions. We want to hear from you guys. So thank you guys so much for the support. Thank you for watching Sharpen Your Sword podcast. Thank you, Giovanni. It's always good talking to you. And you always bring out the best. So, guys, like always, Sharpen Your Sword podcast is designed to help you become sharper, guys. Just like the samurais, they have 2 swords. Okay? They carry two swords, and believe it or not, we carry two swords every single day. Mental, our brains, and our body, physical, right? And in order to become better, you need to sharpen your brain mentally. You need to sharpen your body physically. So if you can wake up every single day, sharpen your swords physically and mentally, you will become better for yourself, for your family, for your community, and for your country. So get up every day and sharpen your swords, and we will catch you on the next episode, guys. Peace out.